So Bronny James is one of the most scrutinized young athletes out there for obvious reasons. I mean, no matter what he is doing, the media finds a way to make a story out of it. But once you go past all the off-the-court irrelevant stuff and jokes and all of that, and you look at his actual play, it can be seen that he's ranked 24th for his class and that he averaged 7 points per game for Sierra Canyon last year, which was his freshman season. And after starting his sophomore season on a similar note, you may just find his numbers disappointing, underwhelming, like, isn't this guy supposed to be some star? I mean, there are several players in the same class averaging over 20, and in Bronny's most recent game, he dropped 9 points. Well, see, that's where context becomes so important because trust it won't be long before Bronny pops off. And despite the title, I do not want to act like Bronny's underrated. No, everybody knows of this guy, and he got ranked. But he is for sure being underestimated because most people probably do not believe he could average 20 plus like his peers in a different situation. But I believe he most definitely could. And in today's video, I'm gonna let you all know why. Trust and believe I'm not just blindly overhyping him. But before I go further, what's good YouTube? Click Speaks back with a vid. If you are new, subscribe. If you believe Bronny could be that guy, sub up. I'm posting quality basketball content 2 to 3 times a week, and I'd appreciate it, man. The goal is to hit 1K within this month. Back to the video though. So like I mentioned in the intro, Bronny recently dropped 9 points in a game against Arenado. The game was streamed on national television on ESPN2, and that whole night was full of some competitive high school matchups. Anyway, if you watch that game in real time or even just the highlights, you notice that although Bronny is a starter, he doesn't get a crazy amount of minutes, and that when he is playing, he is not too aggressive. He has patience, does his part on defense, and doesn't hesitate to make passes. Really just all the characteristics people would often use to describe a role player. And that's no insult, I mean, that's just how he plays right now. And the player on Sierra Canyon that is actually labeled as the star right now is Amari Bailey, who is currently a junior ranked 3rd overall within his class. And against Arenado, he showed out with 29 points, 7 assists, and 6 rebounds, and led his team in scoring. To put it plainly, he is Sierra Canyon's #1 option. But last year, you may not even have heard of him because of BJ Boston, who was now a freshman at Kentucky, but was the first option and star of the team last year. And if you do not see where I'm going with this, basically Sierra Canyon is a highly competitive program, not just as a team, but also in terms of the players, which is not new news at all, but it's as if people forget that when discussing Bronny James and watching him play. Sierra Canyon is not the place where a nice player can just go and take over the team. Clearly, the reason they're so special is due to the fact that they have multiple guys that would be just fine as the focal point on a less notorious team. And in high school basketball, it's pretty difficult to even get noticed in a system like this because as far as I've seen in high school basketball in general, it's not many scenarios where there's an actual super team where multiple highly ranked guys put up impressive numbers. Because teams like Sierra Canyon may have plenty of players who could put up impressive numbers, but only one player stands out for real. Because there's only one basketball, and quarters in high school games are just 8 minutes long. So unless Bronny were to be overly selfish and aggressive, there's no way he would even be able to average anything close to 20 a game right now. And of course, being selfish and aggressive is not even a smart option, as it often leads to inefficient points and team losses. So yeah, if you've ever questioned why Bronny is ranked 24 and a 4-star athlete by ESPN, and you thought that was too high for his stats, there is why. These high school basketball scouts can see the potential in him, but apparently not enough because, as my title states, Bronny is not a 4-star athlete, or even if you think he is, he will not be for long. He is really a 5-star athlete, and the reality of this will be seen sooner rather than later. For a couple reasons I've already gone over, but also because of some I haven't. First of all, you got the confidence, patience, or faith of Bronny's father, LeBron. I don't know, it's a mixture of those three, but yeah, I say this because don't y'all think that the greatest or one of the greatest basketball minds of all time in LeBron is well aware that his son could be putting up better numbers on a different team? Come on now, let's not insult the intelligence of an NBA legend. And personally, I interpret the fact that LeBron has chosen not to transfer Bronny to a less competitive school as a sign that he knows Bronny will soon get his opportunity to shine as the #1 option on Sierra Canyon, which would most likely be his senior year, as that's when Amari Bailey will officially have moved on from high school. But 1 year is all he really needs. And in the meantime, Bronny is literally facing the nation's best competition out there. I mean, teams like Minnehaha Academy, Arenado, of course, Prolific Prep, and Lake Norman Christian, like the list goes on and on. So the preparation he is getting to just go off when he becomes the team's first option is already there. But moving on, guys, right now Bronny is just 6'2". And as a result, of course, he plays the guard position and has developed many valuable guard skills. The handles are there, he can pass, he has a sense of court vision, and his jump shot is cash. And I've seen jokes that he can shoot better than LeBron, and obviously that's not the case, but I do believe, and I think a lot of people would agree, Bronny's jumper is better than LeBron's was at the age of 16. Anyway, like I said, he's 6'2" with all these guard skills, but I highly doubt he stays at this height. His father is 6'8", 6'9", depending on where you go to check, and I don't think it's too crazy to think Bronny will at least be 6'5" and at the most be 6'7", 6'8" by the time he's officially done growing, which means he will be a pretty tall player that could possibly even play the small forward position. And this is a big deal because it's not like his point guard abilities are going to suddenly disappear like Houdini. Not at all. I mean, look at Chet Holmgren, who credits his unorthodox guard skills as a 7-footer to the years he played as a 5'11" guard in middle school. So yeah, when Bronny's inevitable growth spurt finally arrives, things could get a lot more interesting. But moving on again, there's even more reasons why Bronny will surprise a lot of people in due time. But one of the last reasons I want to actually cover is that Bronny is hungry. And probably the first issue you have with me claiming this is that, how do you know? He told you this? Well, obviously not. However, I don't know about everyone else, but upon doing research on Bronny and just seeing his growth up to this point, he is for sure hungry, and this is for several reasons. Now, the obvious one is to prove all the people wrong that constantly say that any of his success is due to LeBron. If LeBron wasn't his dad, he'd be a nobody. He's only ranked because of LeBron. And whether this is true or not, it's just weird to say things like that. I mean, of course, LeBron plays a huge role in his success, but saying things like that are just outright disrespectful. If anything, him having LeBron as a father but still choosing to work towards the NBA shows that he is a grinder, because realistically, none of LeBron's kids need to work a day in their lives. But if that's not enough to prove he has some form of work ethic, then maybe this will, because Sierra King's head coach Andre stated verbatim that Bronny is the only guy this year that's practiced every single day. He stepped into the opportunity when it presented itself. And he said this during Bronny's freshman season when he earned his first start in the game. So there you go. It does not get more clear than that. But yeah, that's going to bring this video to an end. It could go further into Bronny's play, but the reality is that more needs to be seen as his role increases on the team before a real evaluation can be made. But regardless, I don't know if you heard it here first or not, but 5-star athlete Bronny James is on the way. But I appreciate y'all watching, man. Make sure to like this up, sub if new, share all that, and I'm out.